Now to the crowded field for the Republican presidential nomination. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez is the latest candidate to throw his hat into the ring.
You'll recall we brought this to you as breaking news yesterday. Well, today on Good Morning America, Suarez dodged one question after another about former President Donald Trump after officially launching his own White House bid with this video on Twitter.
If my candidacy is going to be about responding to, things that former President Trump did, then there's not going to be much of a candidacy. By the way, not for me and not for any other Republican nominees.
All right, for analysis now, we turn to Facing South Florida host Jim DeFede. Jim, Suarez is planning to announce his run in Los Angeles tonight, of all places. Why California and not right here in Miami?
He's doing it during a speech at the Reagan Library. I think 3 other presidential contenders have also given speeches at the Reagan Library, including Ron DeSantis. So I think that's the backdrop. He wants to try to give himself that air of a presidential seal with Ronald Reagan's memory hovering over everything. So that's why. But to the larger point that you're making, Lauren, I think it's a good one. You would think that his best selling point is his dynamic nature of being in Florida, being part of what Florida we realize is often what happens here, and particularly in South Florida, is the types of things that happen in the rest of the country. He probably would have been better served doing it here in South Florida, and certainly his appearance on Good Morning America did not go well as he dodged and evaded questions.
Hey Jim, does Suarez have a big enough national profile to even be a viable candidate?
Oh, so the short answer is no. He's hoping to build a profile that will allow him to get on the debate stage. He's still a long way from that first August debate, qualifying for it. He's going to have to show some. Right now he's at 0 in the polls. He'll have to come up to at least 1% or more, as well as show a lot of donations from small donors. So yeah, I mean, right now he is, it's not a great, I don't see the path, is I guess what I'm saying. And he has not been able to articulate the path that he has in which he can win the nomination. I tend to think this is more about raising his profile, not for any realistic possibility that he will be the president in 2024, even the Republican nominee, but more about raising his profile so that he has other options. Perhaps he can turn it into a position in a cabinet, the way Pete Buttigieg did when he ran, a former mayor who ran for president, or maybe he can turn it into a gig on one of the networks or cable networks as a pundit, So he's term limited as mayor of Miami, the city of Miami, and so he can't run there anymore. And so this is a way to keep him relevant in the news. I think that's largely what this is about.
And Jim, what about the financial backing to actually carry out a presidential campaign? We know Trump has raised millions in just the last couple of days in the wake of an indictment. We know DeSantis has plenty of money left over from his gubernatorial campaign. How does Suarez even begin to compete with that?
So actually, Suarez has some money. I think last time I checked, he's raised close to $10 million and still has about $6 million or so. Again, when you compare that to the $100+ million that Ron DeSantis has, the tens of millions that Donald Trump has, it's not a lot, but it's enough to get him a staff in Iowa, in New Hampshire, to be able to pay for his travel to some of those early states, and to hope that his campaign can somehow, hit a chord that others will want to respond to. But right now, he's got enough to get started, but it's a long road ahead, and he's going to have to show something. And again, he's pushing all of his chips in on the idea that he just has to qualify for the debate stage, and then he can be one of 11 or 12 or 13 candidates on the stage, and hope that somehow there's a moment on the debate stage that people say, hey, let's give this guy a chance.
They better have a big stage, I guess, Jim. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.